I'm on top, this ain't even my peak. And everything they said was out of my reach. It's getting so close now, did it all for the home sound. It's time all year, we ain't skipped the
All right, so you want to kick it off?
Hello, friends of Smarkamania. We're back for a very special post Tables, Letters, Chairs, and Stairs 2014.
Yes, this is our first non-10 years ago fucking pay-per-view. And also, we might change the name to Wrestle Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, Wrestle Soup for the Soul, indubitably. Basically, what we wanted to do with this was just sort of quickly talk about our reactions to the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs and Stairs 2014 pay-per-view on the WWE Network for just $9.99.
So how many bowls of Wrestle Soup do you feel like that pay-per-view was?
Out of a possible 17 bowls of Wrestle Soup, I'd give it a solid 8.5.
Cool. Oh, yes. Okay, well, should we talk about NXT for a sec first? NXT Revolution?
Oh, man.
Our Evolution?
Our Evolution was an amazing pay-per-view. We got to see a lot of good matches on that card. I didn't make any notes for it because I was just enjoying it so much. I know that the main event, Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville, was literally a mat classic. One of the best matches I've ever watched. I've never marked out for two guys. At one point in the match, they had a chant going on that was it was like Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, or something like that. And I've never heard two positive chants during a match. You usually hear "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," but in the crowd was 100% behind both athletes.
Man, I always feel a little bad for Adrian Neville just because he's just so goddamn short. Even in NXT he's short. How can he survive in the crazy land of giants that is Raw?
Well, he also has hilariously distended ears.
Yeah, he looks like a weird elf, some kind of Lord of the Rings guy.
Like Dobby from that Harry Potter or whatever.
But it's a shame because in NXT he's been the champ for 280 something days or some shit, and he was all respected, and that's just cannot happen on the main roster. He'll be at best an interesting sort of mid-card freak guy.
His name was Pac on the indies.
Right.
When he comes to the actual main roster, I fear that he will be regarded as X-Pac, because that's a completely different game right there. You don't want to be the little guy who's also known as X-Pac, but he looks like a tinier Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. And I mean, it's too bad. He's cool. He looks cool. It's like a create a wrestler mode. They just put him too small. They just need to change that slider so he gets taller.
Yeah. And Sami Zayn is kind of a little dude too. I saw an interesting comic from the Botch Spot comics today, and it was sort of like Vince McMahon was saying, so we need more midgets and we need more celebrities on our show. And Triple H is like, well, that's not what the wrestling fan wants. And then I guess the punchline was more towards Vince McMahon saying that, how is a 13-year-old and a 63-year-old grandmother supposed to be watching together? And I guess it kind of makes the point towards Adrian Neville because he's so small. NXT is for wrestling, The problem with that, though, is Vince McMahon still wants on his main program. We even saw it tonight. Instead of bringing out celebrities and dancing and a bunch of weird shit like that, they gab 2000 dust tonight.
Kind of. But I was going to say about NXT, yeah, anyone who didn't see that pay-per-view, it was really cool because it is it's a weird thing where NXT, it's not necessarily a step up prestige-wise to go to Raw, because NXT, they can have these long matches and they're going to have crazy cool stuff in them because everyone wants to stand out. And it's just not the type of show that Raw is. It's
pretty much since Seth Rollins came up, it's been like that. They hired all the indie darlings. They got Hideo Itami, who is of course is Kenta. They got Kevin Owens, who of course is Kevin Steen, and they got Prince Devitt, who of course is Finn Balor.
Man, his entrance was bananas. What was that?
You should go and watch his I think it's New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 8 entrance.
Although, you know what though, as cool as it was, I did for a moment, I was kind of it's kind of like the Boogeyman.
It looks a lot like the Boogeyman, especially with the crawling and everything like that. No, that's totally true. But in New Japan, his makeup style was Spider-Man characters.
Oh, nice.
Like he did like Venom and like half Venom, half Carnage, and like a really like sweet Carnage and all sorts of different things. And they were all sort of melted down like that. It wasn't just like you put on gold dust face paint. They all sort of had that same sort of, it looks like it's fading up out of his skin up onto his face, if that makes any sense. And I just thought it was a great entrance. The Balor is a demon king from some sort of mythology. I'm not 100% sure right now, but it is true that he is the demon king.
Yeah, he like out-deviled the Ascension. Like, all they do is they kind of just... I was wondering about their entrance because they like rise up through steamy smoke into camera. But if you see it live, they must just be like crouch walking out to get under the camera. It must look so stupid.
I thought that with Finn Balor's entrance too, where they shouldn't have done hard cam immediately on him, where he was crawling out like I'm getting ready to do my entrance. They should have just waited and had him come up mystically from the smoke. The Ascension are great because they're sort of like they're supposed to be the Illuminati, but then those three guys, they have great entrances, and Hideo Itami just came out to a generic like the Asian inspired music, and just sort of has on like a gold jumper like I'm Bruce Lee. Like it was a little racist by comparison.
It is weird too because like he's cool and all, but the announcers like keep saying like, oh, in Japan he's huge, like you should give a shit, and it's like
in fact they say in Japan he's the Ric Flair of Japan. Now, when I heard them say that, I was like, first of all, that's factually incorrect because
Ric Flair, yes,
he's an old man who's been wrestling for 30 years, 40 years, and is the Ric Flair of wrestling and retired. You can't just say a young startup and comer at any rate.
Yeah, but it was cool that I'm glad you told me I should watch that because I only tune into NXT every like 5 or 6 weeks, but I think I'm gonna stick with it for a little while. I want to see what's gonna happen. Got me excited. So, the main event is TLC 2014.
Yeah, here we are.
So I think my main sort of impression of this, it totally reminds me of in Foley's book when he was talking about some ECW pay-per-view he was on with Terry Funk, where the main event was him and Terry Funk in a first blood match, but due to the nature of ECW, there was blood in every match. So it was like, what the fuck, who cares? This was kind of like that. Like there was some cool stuff, but if everything involves a table or ladders or chairs or whatever the fuck, by the time you get to the end, it's like, this is just too many tables and ladders and chairs. I just don't give a shit now.
Well, I mean, even in the stairs match, the tables match, and this is going to be so hard to get out. In one of those three matches in the title card, they were using chairs in stairs matches. They were using ladders in tables matches. Actually, I don't think that actually happened until the main event that actually had tables, ladders, and chairs. See, this is why this is a hard thing to talk about. Because there's so many words to remember when you're prefacing what you're about to talk about.
But definitely, I think just in general, the chairs match and the stairs match can go. Yeah, so we were predicting if they will ever do another stairs match, and we reckon probably not.
I think this is the first and last time. It felt like they stuck a downloadable content onto the side of the TLC this year, and stairs.
And I do love, I love it on, what is this, the PlayStation 3 version of the network, that when you search for pay-per-views, and it has to be by name, so you get those weird pay-per-views where there was only one, and I hope that happens with this. I hope so much that for all time there's one table, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
You have to look specifically for TLC and also TLC-NC.
Because it'll be, like 10 years from now when some other guys are starting a wrestling podcast going through old pay-per-views, they'll find table, ladders, chairs, and stairs and go, what the fuck was that? That sounds stupid as shit, and then they'll review that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely a possibility. But I digress. I had the rare and unique opportunity to actually watch the pre-game show, the pre-show, before anybody showed up. So I'm going to give you a slight rundown of that really quickly. Basically, it comes up, and I'm like raring to go on this pay-per-view. And I just noticed that Renee Young is like, hey, Paul Heyman, how you doing? And Paul Heyman retorts with just blank stare and like, oh, so we're familiar now? And throughout the rest of the pre-show, he just keeps berating her. He keeps just bringing up her things.
The fact that she dared talk to him even though she's an interviewer.
Absolutely. Then basically Miz comes out and tries to coax Naomi into doing something that when we get to the match later, she just stands and watches the monitor. The Miz just kind of wants her to, I thought it was like cheat for Miz and Mizdow against the Usos. But when you don't even bring her out, it sort of just is like, the Miz was just trying to get into Jey Uso's head. Like, I guess that's what that was.
I love too that it's such a weird like little storyline where Miz is the shadiest dude, giving that chick the shadiest opportunity for some weird crappy thing, and only Jey Uso is like, this whole thing makes no sense. Why are you having anything to do with this?
And like at the same time, Damian Sandow is in the background going, and I'm just making the pantomime not even say words mouth. So anyway, the main event of the kickoff, New Day versus the Dust Brothers. The only thing that I really took from this match was like, it was pretty good, as like it seemed like a regular SmackDown or Raw match, but it really had the benefit of Stardust coming out in like green face paint. Like he had the green gimmick, like how he's had the red and the blue, but he had green face paint on. I really just found it funny that the more he fought people, the more his green paint got on them, and especially Cody Rhodes, or especially I just spoiled who Stardust is, especially Kofi Kingston. He had green face paint all over the top of his head after several headbutts from Stardust.
I think that's kind of cool, yeah, because it goes back to his Jamaican colors. And I gotta say, that's the only thing so far I don't like about New Day, is I just don't like the outfits. I feel like all those guys looked cooler before.
Yeah, they all had their own individual personality, but who knows where they're gonna take this. This is only like week 3 of this. Yeah. Like, and we didn't get some overtly racist gimmicks, so I guess, you know.
I did really like too when all their promos, like the them appearing promos, like combined, where it was all 3 of them, and they were like, alone I'm strong, and alone I'm can never
fly,
touch the floor on the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, fly, and also intelligence, and together we're a new day.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. That was neat.
That was all right, and also I liked it a lot. So anyway, Stardust looks like the Green Goblin.
Do you think the green was a Christmas thing?
Nope. I think he was a Martian from space.
Oh yeah,
that's Marvin. How I interpreted that. Okay. But anyway, the fucking Dust Brothers get stomped by New Day, obviously, and yeah, Cody Rhodes is a fucking weirdo, and it's great. So our next match, Dolph Ziggler versus Harper.
Yeah, man, it was brutal. It was almost weird for this match to be first. You know what should have happened? The Cena table match should have been the first match, and this match should have been the mid match.
This should have been the mid match for sure, the way that things played out. But the Intercontinental title has like that rare prestige right now of being like the secondary title. And traditionally, like the for the last 5 or 6 years or so, the big gold belt heavyweight title was sort of like the warmer match, the match to get everybody ready. It's like you get a title match right away, and this is sort of that spot now. The Intercontinental title is back in a prestigious area. It's even gold on white. Like it's pretty much the big gold belt at this point. It's interesting to note though, this was a ladder match.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it was brutal. Just it was gonna be anyway, because yeah, like I thought it was funny as watching this, like realizing that a table match is over when you go through one table, but a ladder match, you just keep getting hit by ladders.
Yeah.
And Dolph Ziggler's name, the more I think about it, the Show Off is a good name for him, because he won't stop bumping all the time. Oh yeah, the replay is playing right behind us.
Yeah, the replay is playing right behind us, and we're at a moment now. They've been schmozzing it up. They've been fighting around the ring a bunch.
Like, I almost feel bad watching Dolph just hurt himself so much for my entertainment.
Are we back to the point where Luke Harper does that suicide dive to the outside where he almost fucking just breaks his entire arm? And we thought it felt like that Sid moment that we talked about on episode 1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, but was it legit, or did he just sell it like awesome?
It seems like it seemed like he was fine after that. Yeah. For all intents and purposes, like it seemed like he was fine.
But yeah, a lot of blood too, like surprising amount.
This had a lot of hard way blood for sure. Ziggler was opened at the like bridge of the nose, and I think he got a little bit of the top of the head.
That's one thing I think is cool now, is that they're in that sort of midway spot where blood's not just totally illegal, but people don't seem to be blading. So if it happens, it's like extra cool because it just kind of happened. Or like the Kevin Owens thing in NXT was similar. Like
Oh yeah,
Like, I don't think it was planned, but it was perfect for him to just have the blood on his nose.
that Kevin Owens spot was great because CJ Parker's one of his signature moves is that slap up to the nose,
Right.
and it actually looked like it fucking just blew up his entire nose because it was a hard nosebleed, but the blood went up and around to the bridge of his nose, so it just looked like he got bashed open. And there's no I would be remiss to find out years later that there's a way to make your nose bleed that they're not utilizing based on this spot, based on how good it looked.
That was funny too. I heard somebody say at the end when Owens hugged Sami Zayn, he hugged him so hard he busted himself back open because he was just bleeding again.
It's true. Yeah, I definitely noticed that as well. So Dolph Ziggler wins this after a ridiculous match. There's no words. Like I didn't take the proper notes because I thought that there was going to be more people here just yelling into the microphone.
Yeah, we had a ton of people, but nobody could stay because everyone had to go to work.
Everybody had to work in the morning.
But this match kind of reminded me of. You want to jump in?
No, I don't.
There's somebody else here, but I mean,
I'm high and drunk. It's okay. I'm good.
that's understandable.
But yeah, this ladder match reminded me too of, I remember when Stone Cold was on Tough Enough in season 1. I always remember his advice was, don't do all this high flying flippy shit like it's not important. If you just have a good character that connects with the crowd, then you don't have to do all this stuff and Psycho Sid break your leg and all this nonsense. And he's right. Like whenever I see guys like Kofi Kingston, I'm like you're beating yourself up for no reason. And I felt like that about this match. Like I respect how cool it was, but there was no need for them to beat the shit out of each other that much. It was just like, what the fuck, guys?
There kind of was, because I think there's a before pay-per-view buzz that we're not in tune to since we're a little bit older. We're not like, 15, 14 and like, holy shit, tables, ladders, and chairs is tonight. And then you open the match with a match like this. I remember watching matches like this when they were bloodier and gorier, and when I see a pay-per-view open with a match like this, I was like, yes. But it kind of goes back to Super Brawl, where you open the match with pretty much you're blowing your load immediately, and then it's not that good. Somebody brought up to me while I was watching the show, they said, are we going to remember this match in a few years? And that's kind of my problem with this pay-per-view as I'm thinking about it and analyzing it. A lot of these matches are just like midway in a feud that's going to blow off at Mania. I feel like we're going to see Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt in some capacity at Mania, or obviously the Royal Rumble, or that Fastlane bullshit that's going to be in between. Like this felt like a road. This felt like a wall. This felt like a stepping stone on the road to WrestleMania. But it didn't really pay off for me, because I know that if you just watch Raw tomorrow night, you're just going to see more of this schmoz. You're just going to see these guys come out and tell each other why they don't like each other, and that's what we're going to see. But this particular match, it was weird to see Luke Harper, who we all like him in this weird way that we just put him in the same place as other Intercontinental title contenders, but in this weird way where it's like he's this big dude, but he's able to take all these bumps that are ridiculous. And then when you put him against smaller guys who also have crazy work rate, you get these great matches. And I think this was the best possible thing to do on the road to WrestleMania for Dolph Ziggler. Make him fight this big guy for his own title, and then win, go up that ladder and get it in front of his hometown crowd. I thought that was a very special thing. I thought that was special.
Yeah, and I don't even exactly remember how Harper got the IC belt anymore, but it was one of those things, like I was fine with him having it for a bit, but yeah, it's not right for it to be on him. It's weird.
It was the authority bit when Luke Harper said, "I'm a team player" on Raw,
right?
And then the next week they were like, "You can fight Dolph Ziggler," and I think J&J Security fucking did the beatdown while the ref was looking the other way.
Yeah, and I guess that was fine, because Harper needed a little more like reason for you to believe. Yeah, exactly.
I think the word is.
That actually is. That's the perfect word. Yeah, so that match, really cool, but weird placement that it was for the whole thing. I don't know. I guess I was still settling in too. I just got here, and I'm like,
I gave that one a solid 4 bowls of soup out of a possible 5 bowls of soup.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. But
soup for the soul.
Yeah, I did feel better about a lot of things after that match.
So the Usos, with Cameron, watching from behind the scenes,
right,
are up next
You know,
against
I really do think the Usos. Oh, sorry, I guess you can at least say who came up with them.
Mizdow. That's all I was going to say. That's all I was going to say. And
As soon as I started
knows.
talking, I'm like, I just needed to wait 1 second.
Hey, they're coming up right now on our screen. It took us the holy shit.
Yeah, so far this is like a commentary track, like
God
we're
damn
timed
it.
well with the replay. But man, isn't the Usos entrance like? I feel like it could be streamlined at this point. It doesn't need to be the traditional thing and the we say ooh, you say oh, and then music. It's like 3 entrances.
Just do the last 4 lines of the Samoan chant, and then do the you say oh where the audience is bored. Do that second part like very quickly, and then cut to the music because their music is the best thing about their gimmick. If you ever, that's another. Put that on Keith's list of songs to listen on headphones when you're super drunk, because that's another one. That's a good song. At any rate,
Man, you know what other wrestling theme I think is under-respected? Fucking what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy?
which guy from Guardians of the Galaxy?
The wrestler.
Oh,
Batista. Batista's theme when they
just for a second there, I forgot we were on a wrestling podcast. I was like, what guy? Oh, Star-Lord? Oh, that's Chris Pratt.
But when they added the lyrics into Batista's pay-per-view, like it is super cheesy metal, but it's so awesome. I swallow down 1,000 miles of anger.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck.
I'd walk a mile inside this pit of anger. I think it's the actual lyric.
Yeah, it was, I love that song.
Oh, if you want to hear an awesome version of that, try to find the WrestleMania 30 like unplugged acoustic versions of Randy Orton and Batista's themes.
Yeah.
And if you can just imagine that in your head, it's fucking phenomenal. But when you actually hear it, the network had just come out, and that's the way that they were framing the network. They were framing it like, oh, we're gonna do all these cool promo-y things for WrestleMania, and we're gonna see it again. Like WrestleMania is coming up, but at any rate.
So was it like wrestling themes unplugged? Like what was this?
No, it was like they did one of those like black and white,
Oh, okay.
and then they had like the light bulb swaying back and forth while Batista would be like, "Ugh." And then on the there was a separate commercial for Randy Orton where he did his arms up in the air thing, like, and it was like their respective songs, like Randy Orton's theme. It goes like this. Yeah, that's all I remember.
Usos versus Mizdow.
Yep.
So yeah, what notes you got? I don't remember
Usos
much.
look like Doink, is what I wrote down. They had Doink the Clown colors.
Was there tables involved in that just because the ref was out or something? Like again, just too many.
No, I think that was an actual tables,
Okay.
no ladders.
Yeah, really, all I remember is the shitty, stupid DQ ending, and it made me forget the rest of the match. Yeah.
I didn't write anything down about that.
But yeah, it's just such a pain, and it's like, oh, I just watched the whole match, and then it's just a DQ. Come on, who cares about that? It sucks.
The next match is that was Big Show versus oh god.
Oh, the stairs match.
Yeah,
Oh.
here comes the stairs match. Look, I'm gonna sum this up. It was the United States of America versus the United States of America in a fucking stairs match. Eric Rowan and Big Show go to about roughly 15-minute bullshit schmoz of making lies up about stairs, the ring stairs. Basically,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of lies. It was like the two biggest guys, they lie about their height and their weight anyway. Let's make the stairs of the ring also be a gimmick to the point that they ran down the numbers, the stairs numbers. This is the anatomy of the stairs.
And yeah, like it was like, what was it, 273 pounds or something they claimed the stairs weigh?
The top part weighed 85 pounds. The bottom part weighed 185 pounds. I watched Eric Rowan. You can be, no matter how big and strong you are, I watched this guy walk down to the ring, grab the top part of the stairs, and whip it like you're whipping a frisbee.
It was weird when he threw stairs into the crowd and they started like a beach ball just throwing the stairs around. Little kids and shit.
That's not even a joke. That actually happened. 16 kids died.
But yeah, it totally is like, yeah, like, oh, Big Show just conveniently weighs exactly 500 pounds, and these stairs that, yeah, like, I mean, they've been using the stairs for like 15 years, like since the Attitude Era, stairs all the time. We all know that the stairs, I could pick up those stairs. It's
I don't know if you've noticed, though, they've always promoted the stairs as being way heavier.
Like, I'm just imagining now the ring crew setting up the ring. Do they need like a Ryback guy just for the stairs?
No, that's all the guys that you see go off television. they just use them in the wings to bring out the stairs for one match at a time.
Because little did we know, too, they have a lot of stairs, man. They have a ton of stairs.
Do you want to take the Schmozcast outside?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah, let's do it.
Very entertaining.
Do you honestly think that your heroes are as good as me? I can destroy anyone they put in front of me. I came back to be champion again. I am Batista.
I'm your superhero. I'm the guy you pay to see.
And this is my WrestleMania.
Anyway, let's talk wrestling.
All right, yeah, so we took the show outside. Smoke break time.
Yeah, we had to take a smoke break on that.
So the stairs match, yeah, like as soon as I heard about it, as soon as they announced that on Raw, I was like, oh, that's silly. Just because they happen to hit each other with stairs, someone decided they need a stairs match. And I texted everyone like, whew, stairs match. And it's true, it was the suckiest, dumbest match.
We had a bunch of speculations on what should happen. The first and foremost is like, why aren't these stairs up on poles? Because whenever you put the word, whenever you use the noun in a match, it's probably on a pole, but they don't do that because Vince Russo is dead.
Well, that's one thing too. Is like, yeah, we had a bunch of people here watching the show, and it was like half a joke but half serious about like, so what does this mean? Do you have to pin a guy on stairs? Like, what is a stairs match?
There was a very specific finish to the match that I'll get to in 1 second, but the other way that you win this match is to at least pin them on the stairs. Yeah. Like that seems like the natural outcome. But basically okay, Eric Rowan creates this wall of stairs.
I'm so proud of it.
Yeah, he looked at it like, oh man, like I did good work today. But then they wrestle for so long after that, and it's one of those big man matches where they just sort of like one guy falls down and the other guy's on top and the other guy falls, and it goes back and forth. And then finally, Big Show just takes Eric Rowan right to his own work of art, and they both go through it. Big Show got ready. He wanted to do one of his classic spears, and just flopped. Like he potatoed both of them.
That's the thing too. Is like that's why I don't know if they ever need to do any more stairs matches. Is because I think they did the only 2 spots you can do with stairs. Like that was the most creative one, making a wall. I wouldn't have thought of that.
But how do we get a WWE branded special about stairs matches if there's no more?
That would be awesome. Just the worst ever show. And then I think the other one was when Big Show was laying on some stairs and Rowan jumped off the second rope to the turnbuckle and hit him with some stairs. That was kind of cool.
Well, yeah, there was also that spot where Big Show got Rowan on a stairs. I think we're just going to call it a stairs at this point because it's a weapon utilized in this match. Big Show gets up on the top rope and he's like, I'm gonna smash him in between these two stairs, guys. Look at me. And then he does the classic spot where Eric Rowan gets out of the way, he bashes it down, and he gets electrocuted by metal on metal.
Yeah. That was something too, I guess there was when the stairs were wedged in the corner between the second and third rope, and we were like, oh, a small guy could have done a backflip off that. That would have been cool. But that'll never happen because those guys can't lift those stairs.
It's true because they weigh the same amount as the stairs. Because I thought it would be great if you could take like that stairs idea and do like a cruiserweight match, and they end up building a stairway up to the turnbuckle and then doing a flip and some sort of spot on the stairs. But no, they put 2 big guys. We've talked about this match like way more than it even deserves.
Yeah, it was garbage. It was bad. It will be the match like 10 years from now. People are digging back through the network and they'll see that weird pay-per-view name and they'll go like, well, that was a stairs match, all right.
And stairs? Holy shit, we gotta watch this, guys.
That's something we should look into is match types they only did once and go dig up the old pay-per-views and watch them.
Honestly, I want to watch a World War III. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I've never seen one. We got to find one of them.
Holy fuck. I think that should be our next goal for the main event podcast. Yeah. And I'm drunken right now. I don't have my notes, so I don't know what the next match is.
Let me think. Yeah, let's see if we can remember. Let's see if we have to make. Do you remember?
Roland Cena.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, Roland Cena.
Yeah, because that is weird as shit. No wonder we couldn't remember. Like right in the middle of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, the proposed main event that I thought was going to be the main event absolutely was John Cena versus Seth Rollins.
But this was a weird build-up, too, to this match. The more we, like, talked about it, we were like, what is the fucking point of this? Like, Cena is already number one contender, so if he wins, he's just where he was before. And Rollins, if he loses, who cares? He could still just cash in Money in the Bank anytime and jump in front of Cena. This would have just made him double able to to fight for the title.
And
Pretty
I thought
weird.
even if Cena won, the next week on Raw, he would just be like, oh, I'm going to do this other means to get a world title shot again. It's all a schmoz at the end of the day. But I think this was what I was saying earlier about how this was definitely the in-between pay-per-view of pay-per-views. Like, you just had like all these matches. Like, you know that John Cena and Seth Rollins are going to still feud after this. But we're going into the Royal Rumble now. But we have like 5 Raws and SmackDowns in between. So who knows? Like, who knows what's going to happen? I think there's going to be a Brock Lesnar appearance in there. It has to be, because like John Cena's the number one contender for the title. And while that means absolutely nothing by today's standards, and by today's standards I mean in this current end of the year, like, again, schmoz festival, I think that it's going to be a situation where we have John Cena just fucking 5 weeks of him just being like, you know, I'm the underdog. You can't see me. Even though I'm standing right here. You know.
Even though that is like, it's crazy ironic that you can't see me as his catchphrase when he's the guy who's the most on TV in the past 10, 11. When did he start? 2003?
Yeah, like 2004, 2005. He started.
So I'm sure if you did
prototype.
If you did the metrics or whatever, got your graph paper out and watched every Raw and everything ever, like, no one has been more visible than him.
It's true.
That's
I think that's the joke he's trying to make. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess the thing that happened at the end of this was Reigns. Roman Reigns came back and punched Seth Rollins in the face.
Oh yeah, that was the finish. We also saw something, 2 things we had never seen in a match before that we thought. A table being used in the turnbuckle with one side out, getting it ready. We also saw the J&J security do the both take a table and try to hit John Cena with it, but they smashed it around the turnbuckle from the outside. We also saw them set up the finish to the match way early on, and we saw later the finish of the match go to a situation where they both fly out of the ring, break both tables, and the referee can't figure out for the life of him what to do.
I wonder if it was important that there were 2 tables to make it even more fair.
Well, it was to make a bigger landing ground.
Oh, and there was, I think, my favorite spot of that match was poor J&J security both getting AA'd at the same time.
Which we thought, we made a joke about how, why doesn't John Cena just do all 3 of them? Fucking still gets both of them. They were trying to both climb to the top rope, it seemed like, at the same time. I think they were trying to escape from John Cena.
It is kind of neat in a way that Noble and Mercury, they're kind of in this little mid spot where they're like half a wrestler, where they're not just nobody. Like if there was like a 3-on-2 handicap match, but you know the 3 was J&J, but they still kind of did okay, and it was still a little tough for Cena and Ziggler to fight them. But you can also AA them both at the same time. Like they can be a little threatening, or they can be total losers, and it all works.
But what I thought was interesting was that Big Show ends up just coming out. We're all sitting there going like, how's this match going to end? How could this possibly, after all this ridiculous, like everybody getting slammed through everything, maybe Vince will come back, maybe Triple H is there, Steph, somebody's going to come out and say something. But nope, old fucking Big Show. And I said to myself, hey, maybe he's turning face. But nope, he's stayed heel.
Yeah, Big Show's a weird thing where he's also just like, you know, just so overdone and played, but he is real big. Like, what are they going to do, fire him? I mean, he's a huge guy. Yeah, put him in a stairs match. There you go. Everyone's happy.
Yep.
It's the match Big Show was made for.
So I think this match, we kind of covered everything. It ended...
yeah, I'd say that match was all right. I didn't mind it.
It was fine. Like, they had a good psychology. It had a good a story to the match. They ended up making Cena win after... did Sting come out again? No. Why don't we take it back inside?
On TLC, all right, back inside.
My accomplishments are endless. My moments unforgettable. unforgettable. I am the past, present, and future of this business. The Viper will strike at WrestleMania.
Oh man, yeah, and now that we come back in, we're at the stairs match, so we're finally ahead of the pay-per-view. I was gonna say though, even though I don't really, it seems weird to do like a whole TLC podcast or pay-per-view. Like, there's really no need. But I guess it is because these middle, in-between I keep saying podcasts. These in-between pay-per-views are kind of extra forgettable. So at least this is, I guess, a little more memorable than
I'd rather make
Mayhem or something.
I'd rather make Gab 2000 memorable than this forgettable 2014 pay-per-view.
If we ever start our own wrestling promotion, we need to have our like annual Starrcade WrestleMania thing, but it'll always be called Gab 2000.
Yep.
So it's like Gab 2003.
But we never say what it means.
But it won't be 2003. It'll be Gab 2000 Roman numeral 3. Like,
That's awesome. So the next match we have to deal with, and that's what I'm at. That's where I'm at on this pay-per-view at this point. It's Nikki Bella with Brie Bella versus AJ, not Styles, but Lee.
it really does too. Like I kind of like this dynamic of the Brie sisters, the Bella twins, being both heel and being friends. I just wish they would explain something. Like, Brie tonight was just like, hey, I know we've had our problems, but blood is thicker than water. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. But that was a huge storyline that for 30 days you had to be your sisters. That was only like 2 months ago.
That had no payoff.
Yeah.
She just turned heel.
Like, there's other stuff, too. Like, they really never... I would have liked a little more about Rowan and Harper and why they aren't getting along. But they're crazy, so I guess it's okay. But the women's wrestlers are supposed to be actual people with normal human intellect and personalities.
If you were to believe what they show you on Total Divas, they're just regular people like you and I.
Right.
Just going to their next wrestling event that they have to go to.
I gotta admit, though, the little bit of Total Divas I've seen, I think Nikki Bella is my favorite. She's just a funny, weird jerk.
She is a funny, weird jerk, and she can't talk when the camera's on her. But look, I don't want to give this match a lot of time. It didn't do anything for either parties involved. It was really just the blow-off of AJ being like, the two of you are not equal to one of me. Like, it's lit. Like, I really hate the way that they book women's matches. But then they do a classic spot. Brie Bella comes in to help her sister and pulls out bear mace and fucking just bear maces the shit out of AJ.
Did that happen? I totally missed that. Wow.
I wrote down perfume / bear mace.
Yeah, I did see at the end, like, yeah, the officials were all concerned about her face, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it was perfume, and I'm doing air quotes, but we all agreed at that time it was bear mace.
Man, I got bear sprayed in Vancouver. And it really, really sucks. It's a whole long story, but it sucks real bad.
I assume it doesn't work on people if you're not a bear. Like,
yeah, well, it's way worse because it's like stronger than normal, like dog, pepper spray because it's for bears.
Dog pepper spray.
Yeah, and it's like
Why would you ever pepper spray a dog?
I don't know, because he's a jerk.
A real jerky old fucking. A Rottweiler that like doesn't have a home.
But yeah, in Vancouver, just because that happens, like bears do come into people's houses, so you can get bear spray pretty easy. And these kids bear sprayed me behind my glasses, like it was like a WD-40 can with the nozzle. They got the nozzle behind my glasses and stole my laptop. So it was a real sucky day. But somebody else was like, "Well, they could have stabbed you." I was like, "Fair enough, I'll take the spray."
I would rather get bear maced than stabbed, but at the end of the day, Nikki Bella retains.
And they did that weird thing. I guess it's been happening with the Bella twins, like, that they don't look the same, with the boobs and everything.
And also that, like, 3 inches taller that Brie was in the opening promo. Like,
yeah, Brie was wearing heels, and it's just very strange looking.
What you were saying with the J&J security?
Yeah, she had them strapped to her feet. So it was like when Bart Simpson puts lollipop things under his feet. Yeah, anyway.
Lollipop things under his feet. At this point in the pay-per-view, we're all sort of looking at each other going like, the fuck? Like, there's still an hour left.
Yeah,
what is going on? And people kept being like, okay, these are the matches. So here's what we have left. We have We have Rusev and Swagger, and we have obviously now Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt's main event.
And I kept thinking I heard them say there was going to be a chairs match, but I was like, did I dream that?
Me too. I thought that based on watching like Raw the last couple weeks, blackout drunk.
The only reason I remember is because like somebody made a joke of like, what is that? Like you both sit in chairs and arm wrestle? Like what the fuck is a chairs match? Which would have been kind of better.
Well, it turns out it's just a match where you get to use chairs. And up next is Ryback versus Kane.
It was so funny too because they had for each match type like a ton of extra of whatever in case the wrestlers need them. They're like, all right, we'll put some ladders around, we'll put a bunch of stairs around. So this one they had a bunch of chairs set up and it looked like an AA meeting in like a church basement, like just little chairs set up, and it was not cool.
Yeah, and the only thing that was notable in this match, besides the fact that they kept like brutalizing each other on the back with chairs, somebody asked like, why don't they hit each other on the head anymore? Maybe if they hit each other on the head some more, it would be way more interesting. But they just keep hitting each other on the back. I thought it was hilarious that there was one point in the match. I think it was Kane gets out and starts just throwing chairs into the ring. Was that Kane that did that?
I think so.
And he just started throwing chairs into the ring, and we all agreed that it was way better when a hardcore wrestler does it, especially Dean Ambrose, which we'll get to.
Yeah, all this stuff does remind me of like it was totally like Edge and Christian and the Hardys and the Dudleys like that made these TLC matches like super incredible back in the day, and now it's weird because it's way too much TLC and none of the people that were really instrumental.
I'd rather get a Gab 2000 honestly in this day and age. Just it's super brawl and then it's all TLC matches instead of it being called tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs, and pairs and Claire and glare off the screen. I'd rather just be surprised, you know.
But I really think too those little tiny chairs, like that. If you're gonna do a chairs match, do that with little guys because those chairs were so small for Kane and Ryback. They just look silly.
But I think those chairs are actually like the regular size a chair should be,
right? Yeah.
Compared to the Big Show or Kane. Kane for that matter. Kane's just like he looks like a big uncle. He's like, that's Kane, that's my uncle. That's what I say anyway. That's something you've all learned about me just now. Kane's my uncle.
And nobody did sit in the chair, which is all I wanted, but that does come up later.
That does come up later. So we move on.
Who won that one?
Oh, the Ryback.
Okay.
He did a sweet meat hook that they got right in on. They didn't do that weird like pulsing camera on him too. You just saw him collect him, put him down for the meat hook.
I always think too, as soon as I asked that, I realized I could have just thought like, well, is there any reason to push Kane? No, of course Ryback won.
Yeah, that's true. But we did get to see a good shell shock from Ryback. He did hoist him right up. Didn't do any botchy stuff like he did with Tensai a couple of years ago. Just picked him up and put him right down. 1, 2, 3, clean win.
I even feel like
a clean win after a chairs match.
Right. And as dumb as like a chairs match is, even this, like, it probably would have been a pretty cool match if it were in a different pay-per-view. But yeah, in this pay-per-view, it's just like the weird, like, what is this? What's the point of this? Because it wasn't bad, but
it was an entertaining. It was an entertaining competition between two heavyweight athletes.
Right. I guess. Oh, that's the other thing that's weird too with all these matches is, like, a normal match kind of would have been better. Just because then every fucking second spot wouldn't have a chair in it. Like, it is just like each one of these gimmick matches, they overuse the gimmick so much.
It's like if you're in this gimmick match, you have to use that gimmick. But the thing is we kept making the joke like, oh, are you allowed to use a table in a stairs match? But like, you shouldn't have to do that to your viewer. You shouldn't have to be like, back in the day, what we'll see as we go on to more WCW pay-per-views where they had crazy convoluted rules, you'd actually get a title screen that had the rules of the match.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I want if they're going to throw a stairs match at me. I want it to have either crazy convoluted rules or just give me like, you are allowed to use stairs. And we didn't even talk about what I wanted to talk about the stairs match. He pinned him, putting the stairs over him.
All right. Big Show,
Rowan,
pin Rowan, yeah.
Sorry to go back, but he took the stairs, put them on him, and pinned him with his like knee. And what I thought was weird about that is Rowan looked like he was awake and trying to, tap out or
Yeah, kick out. Like he
Kick
got his
out.
shoulder up, right? Like he totally
get
did.
his shoulder up, but he couldn't because the stairs were on him.
Right.
That's what I found was weird about that.
Man, you know what would have been awesome? They have like the stairs match and then the chairs match, and then they should have been like, the following is a wrestling match scheduled for one fall.
Well, the women's match was that.
Yeah,
That was a wrestling match. So next we have
Ryback versus.
Ryback versus Ryback. No. We have Rusev versus Jack Swagger.
And as far as theme versus theme, I definitely prefer Swagger's. I love that song. It's better than the real American national anthem. Whereas I'm not sure what the Russian national anthem is, but it's probably better than Rusev's music.
I actually love Rusev's music.
I mean, it's fine, I guess, but it's like evil Tetris.
I do. I do. You're right. I do love I love the real American "Don't Tread on Me" Jack Swagger theme much better than Rusev's theme. But Rusev's theme makes his Gold Star title mean a lot more. Imagine if they take this gimmick and they move it along, and you have a day when Jack Swagger's like, why don't I just challenge Rusev for his Gold Star on his chest, and then I'll show you who a real American is. Why don't they do that? And I feel like they might move towards that, because when NXT was still FCW, Damian Sandow actually had a title, and he used it as a comedy gimmick, but it was an award that goes around your chest, and that was an FCW title that you could have. It was like the something of the year, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that would be interesting if the Gold Star suddenly is now a title you can fight each other for. Same with the Money in the Bank. Like, the Money in the Bank should be like something you can challenge somebody for.
Yeah, actually, that would be cool. Yeah, if Money in the Bank could move around. And yeah, I did notice today. I thought that a little with the when we were watching Lana put on the medal. Is like the medal is kind of necessary now that he's U.S. champ. Like if it's supposed to serve that purpose. But I like that he's U.S. champ too, mostly because I hate America. So I just love seeing that title on a weird Russian guy. How do you think Rusev would look with a Zangief haircut?
I think he would look like Zangief with a Zangief haircut.
I think that'd be cool, because I don't know if I dig his hair so much.
So just to get off the topic of Rusev's hair,
but Jack Swagger's hair too. It looks so cool,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
literally 1 second into the match, it's all messed up.
yeah, he has that top cut. He looks like a villain from a Japanese role playing game. But
This is how we'll stand out. We'll have all the hairstyling tips about wrestling.
But see, in my notes, what I've written down is that Rusev wins this match.
Right.
But help me remember what happened in the middle, because I wrote, Rusev wins, you're goddamned right. But I know that there were things that happened in this match. There's no way that we ignoranted away. That's a word, trademark, Jason Phillips, 2014, ignoranted. How did he win? And what were some spots that happened during that match?
I mean, I know Rusev just did his submission thing twice, and Jack Swagger did one in the middle. Rusev's ankle was kind of hurt, but he still just kicked Jack Swagger full force in the head with his leg, so it didn't really matter. That's mostly what I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty much right. Like, that should have been the pre-show match.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because again, Rusev's not gonna lose. Like you guys were even talking about, like, what if Rusev comes in first in the Rumble, like, and just creams everyone?
Oh man, if Rusev was number one in the Rumble, that would be the most amazing thing ever. And if he did the just plow through everybody, even if he lost, even if he got thrown at like 29, it'd be fine. It would be like Roman Reigns in the Rumble just clearing house last year. Like the plans are in motion.
Man, that is the kind of thing I was thinking about. That's the kind of thing that really makes me not like a wrestler. Like, Roman Reigns is right on the edge of me not liking him. Like, how did he throw out the most people in history in the Rumble? Like, stop cramming this fucking jerk down my throat. All he does is a Superman punch.
It was Kane before him.
Yeah, and I liked the Kane year, and that was like 10 years ago. But and that was cool because it was kind of unexpected, and Kane was still the big red machine, and it's like, oh, that's cool. But Roman Reigns is so transparent. Like, there's no reason Roman Reigns is suddenly
Interesting tidbit. At that time, they would have probably been calling him the big red retard.
Yeah. Those are the days. We're in more enlightened times now. You don't take chair shots to the head. You don't get called a retard in wrestling.
Retard.
No matter how retarded you are.
Jerry Lawler called Goldust a faggot one time. Also, that should be noted. And Booker T called Hulk Hogan a nigga.
Yeah. I'm coming for you, nigga.
So it turns out, after all that schmoz, that doesn't seem right. It's the main event.
Yeah, that's main
Isn't
event
that crazy? This pay-per-view was like, you take the best pay-per-view you've ever watched and fucking scramble it, and then the matches somehow are mediocre because of that factor.
Well, how's about, I know you were mentioning that the last couple of years of TLC were pretty bad, so how does this stand up to those?
I think last year was way better just because they had the WLC.
Right.
That was Hornswoggle versus El Torito in a TLC match where Hornswoggle was with three-man band. Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre still had jobs.
Now that's something, I'm sure there's no story here, but yeah, like I just started watching right before 3MB like fell apart. What is the story? Just that there's supposedly three guys who have a band? Like,
Well, it was Heath Slater was a one-man band.
oh, okay.
And then they put Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal with him, and then they had a three-man band.
Now, was he a one-man band in the Shawn Michaels tuning up the band sense, or did he really have like cymbals between his knees and play music?
No, he was a guy that came out and played air guitar to a song that said, "I'm a one-man band."
And he never got over? Like, unbelievable.
Do I have to answer that? Trust me, it was over in all our hearts.
That is like, he is the perfect example in the current roster of like that thing of like, if you don't want to be champ, you shouldn't be in the company. And it's like, get out of here. If Heath Slater really thought he was going to be champ, he's delusional.
That's what I'm talking about with the comedy wrestling hybrid that is Mizdow. You finally took the Santino Marella and Randy Orton and hybrided it. You know, you're taking a comedy gimmick from a guy, Damien Sandow, who's coming out for weeks and weeks and just being like so funny, and he was just doing the thing, you know, he was doing the, I'm going to dress like this guy from the history of America in this city, and then next week I'm going to be a basketball star from your rival team. And then they pop him with Miz.
Do you remember when he was dressing up like people? One week he dressed up like Bret Hart, and then Bret Hart came out and beat him up. Yep. But Sandow was still like offended. He's like, "What? What did I do? What did I get beat up for?" And it's like, dude, you're dressed up like that guy.
Yeah,
he's allowed to hit you.
Also on the other side, it's like I watch Mizdow matches and I'm like, he's not helping his tag team partner. There's no reason for Miz not to just have all the belts and slammies on his personal person.
Yeah.
But that's also why I see Mizdow still being kayfabe Miz, like being in kayfabe, the character Miz, and not pissed about all the accolades that he's getting for his tag team partner. You know, like it's this weird psychology, kayfabe, fucking schmaz, and we'll use that word again, that creates this fun wrestling environment to watch. And when I watch it, I just know that I'm going to have a good time in those particular matches.
I really am too. I'm really interested to see what happens with Mizdow, because like underneath the surface, like you can tell Sandow has got all the stuff he needs to be. He's like, you know, a Cesaro type guy. Like he could be big, but he's just not. So hopefully that'll happen. But then there's that side of me that thinks without this gimmick, without being with The Miz, what if it just all fizzles right away?
What are they doing with Cesaro also on that note?
That's true.
At any rate, he wasn't on this pay-per-view.
Not even the pre-show. Oh. Not even in the crowd, nothing.
You texted me and said, I'm sorry if I missed a Fandango match. But no, it was actually it was like a SmackDown quality match. It was pretty good. Like, I mean, I sat here, like me and my fiance were like hanging out, and I was like, this is the pre-show, and it was, you know, we're hanging out waiting for people to come, and I enjoyed it personally. I really liked tonight. Here's my three favorite things, my 3-5 favorite. I'm trying to come up with like my top three. A shucky ducky. No. I want a title card that says my new thing about the three things that I like. Let's think about that, Keith.
Jason's Three Sensations.
Nope. Oh, actually, you know what?
Nope.
That's good. That's good. Jason's Three Sensations.
It's not good, but it'll do until we come up with something better.
Honestly, though, number one,
Jason's Revelations.
Jason's Revelations actually works way better.
Jason's Taste Sensations. That's too close and makes no sense.
Okay, we're going to call it Jason's Taste Sensations. That's too close. It makes no sense. That's what it's called.
Jason's Celebrations. Your favorite things of the night.
Jason, fuck!
Just so what are they? What's your three things?
Okay. And we're okay. The main event still has to happen.
Right. We'll get
My
back to
number
that.
one thing happens actually in the main event, and it's the most ridiculous thing ever. But up till now, my my Jason sensations are green-faced Stardust, getting his Stardust all over Kofi Kingston.
Which sort of brought Kofi back to his fake Jamaican roots.
Number 2.
I do
That
miss
ladder match. I think overall that ladder match was
it was crazy.
was probably the best thing we saw. I mean, like, we were ramped to watch wrestling, like we had that going for us, and then we like watched it. Like, it's a match we were all here, like we finally all got here and we watched it. I think it was just a lot of fun. And when you get to the stairs match, you're like, fuck, this is a match about stairs.
Yeah, why wasn't the stairs match the opener? Just like whatever, just settle in. I guess like you were saying, like sometimes it's good to have a real crazy opening.
Yeah, like a title match opening.
But it was like when the pay-per-view ended and then the replay looped around. Like if we weren't recording this, I would have watched that ladder match again.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
absolutely for sure. So I guess that's 2 of my 3. My third, I don't want to spoil anything for the listener. We get to the main event. It's Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt. ! Question mark. Yeah, that's right. We have Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt as the main event in 2014 in December.
It does make sense too, because on paper, besides maybe the ladder match, like this was obviously the cool match, you know.
This was the match that I was the most excited for. This was the one that I actually wanted to watch this card for, and it's a weird twist of fate and almost ironic that I would get the match that I was expecting to be let down by in the middle of the card, that being Cena and Rollins, and they still had pay-per-view main event schmaz, like psychology going on, and like honestly, that match, if you think about it back, the whole thing, it seems like the match that would end a really shitty pay-per-view.
Yeah,
right?
like maybe they did switch like late in, because that was one thing. The TLC match was cool, but yeah, it didn't have that end of a pay-per-view feel where all that weird bullshit in the table match definitely felt more like that.
So we get a really good like back and forth between the two.
I was gonna say too. I mean, Bray Wyatt's like entrances are always amazing, but this one was extra great. Like they were just like it seemed like every person had their light on in the auditorium. It looked so cool.
Yeah, somebody made $1 million off that flashlight app this week, especially if you're a wrestling fan.
Man, that was a cool thing too about Bray Wyatt was on Stone Cold's podcast, and just like the two sides of the coin, where Husky Harris, obviously he was just like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it, and it was terrible. Like how you get anywhere with that? Where he was talking about with Bray Wyatt, like he really did come up with, even though it's a Waylon Mercy thing and whatever, and like taken from different places, but he came up with tons of it himself. Like Bray was the name of a crazy kid he knew when he was growing up, and Wyatt's from Wyatt Earp. And he went through like all of their music library to find that song himself. That's why he has that cool opening song that's not like anyone else's. Mm-hmm. It's just nice that when you give a fuck, you get to be Bray Wyatt. And if you let the world tell you what to do, you get to be Husky Harris. That's a lesson, kids. Think about it.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. That even goes to the New Day having that cool gospel theme. The Flat Brush Zombies. I think that is a rap name that's in the same vein as what you're talking about. They petitioned for it sort of while their gimmick was sort of being conjured up, and it turns out that this rapper got on board. And if you listen during the theme, you weren't here yourself, Keith, but if you listen, there's actually rapping that comes on later, and apparently that's like some great rap man.
And that's in the New Day's music?
Yeah, the New Day's music.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll keep my ear peeled for that if they ever have a crazy long ring entrance.
Well, they did on the pre-show, so you got to hear it. That's why you got to come to the pre-show.
Yeah. So a lot of elbows off of ladders in this match. They were all pretty cool, but it was an elbow every time. It's like Dean Ambrose's moves. He's like, I only have an elbow. It's all I can do.
Dean Ambrose did a spot where he did a smaller ladder through a table to Bray Wyatt. He got a slightly taller ladder, went through the table on Bray Wyatt again. He got to the third tallest ladder, and then, classic, like, miss. Then we get to see the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and that was literally the Sister Abigail out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was I love that too, if he starts, like, that being a possibility now, that it can be slow or it could be fast.
That's what they were implying by that. It had to have been, because the Sister Abigail has been so telegraphed. You get the guy, you lay him down over your knee, you kiss him in the head, and you slam him back on his face.
Remember when he used to slow dance with people first? It used to be even slower.
I loved that. I loved that so hard because the first time I ever saw Bray Wyatt, he touched all four corners. I was watching an NXT match before all this glitz and glam they have now, and it was just the NXT logo, and he would take them, he'd touch all four corners with their hand, and then do the Sister Abigail. To see this come from out of nowhere tonight, that you know what? That actually takes over my number one Jason sensation.
I love to, man. I love just digging through YouTube and stuff and watching any old Wyatt promos you can find and stuff, like about Sister Abigail, where he's like, they said her touch could heal, but her kiss would burn the world to the ground. And I'm like, oh, and he kisses people and then they lose. That's cool.
Also, this match was predicated on Bray Wyatt liking Dean Ambrose too much, and then Dean Ambrose being like, I reject your advances, and then he breaks Bray Wyatt's rocking chair, and then they have a TLC match.
Yeah. Man, another thing, well, in my Bray Wyatt fucking fan club moment, but, you know, with Follow the Buzzards, he said how he came up with that is he was just driving around and he saw a bunch of buzzards somewhere, and he's like, oh, there's something dead over there. And then when he was thinking of stuff for the Wyatts, he's like, oh, yeah, and, like, society's, like, dead, and I'm leading people toward it, and, like, follow the buzzards. And I thought that was so cool. That's when I went on Shop Zone and ordered the Wyatt family Follow the Buzzards wallet. It literally was after I heard him say that. I'm like, that guy's cool.
You wouldn't have done very well in Waco, Texas.
Yeah, I just would be instantly under the thrall. Like, I'll do whatever you want. That was the weird thing, though. Like I was saying that since we're in Canada, the fucking shipping and stuff was slightly more than just the wallet by itself. But I was looking at other stuff, and it's like a life-size stand-up of Harper and Rowan. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, what?
I've seen life-size stand-ups of a lot of, like, ridiculous wrestlers, but, like, why in the world would you ever want a 1, 2, 3 kid life-size stand-up?
You'd be your best friend. It's like my buddy, but it's Sean Wellman. You just take him around with you in your big wheel.
I had a friend. I hope to God one day that my friend Tim Sullivan listens to this. His girlfriend Erin Clahane, for years and years, she had this Trish Stratus stand-up that she had I think the Facebook account still exists. She was called like Stand Up Trish or something like that. And they would just put her on these hilarious like situations and made a Facebook character out of it. And I thought that was really funny. And I just thought it's Cardboard Trish. That was her name.
Yeah, Stand Up Trish. Sounds like you just like always set her up for a date and you never go.
Yeah,
that's why you buy it.
So to really round out this pay-per-view...
Oh, that's the thing too, yeah, we were talking about how the ending of the tables match seemed more like a pay-per-view ender. It definitely does. I forgot how this match ended. It ended stupid.
Yeah, no, the end of John Cena and Seth Rollins was insane because you literally had like Bret Hart and British Bulldog fucking ending. You had the who won, like both shoulders down. You had that win after so many ref bumps and knockouts. It's like, remember when we were like, why are there so many refs at ringside for the main event? It's like they got the refs out in force. So like, bring all the refs down. Everybody has to see everything. I think the anonymous GM is running the show, and that's great because that just means I don't have to think about who the general manager of Raw is.
Even now that I think about it too, the return of Roman Reigns would have fit better at the end of the pay-per-view too.
I don't think it would have because his problem, him and Dean Ambrose are still friends at this point.
Oh yeah,
that's true. They haven't crossed paths, and that's the weird thing to think. Like, we're watching all these WCW pay-per-views out of context, and all these guys keep crossing paths, and we're like, holy shit, holy fuck, but we don't know what happened on Raw, and we have the benefit of knowing what happened on Raw. Nothing happened on Raw.
You know what I found out too with that last pay-per-view we watched, Super Brawl Revenge? You know how Lance Storm was the commish and Ernest Miller won it back? Mm-hmm. Apparently on the previous pay-per-view, Ernest Miller was commish. So Lance Storm became commissioner within 1 month and then lost it. Like, that's how nonsense that shit was.
So they were so bored of just passing the titles around that they started passing literal titles around.
Yeah, and it's so weird, like, if you were watching Nitro and stuff, I guess, but now it's mostly pay-per-views people remember wrestling history by, so it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you can't...
Until we reach our holy grail and we watch 3 Nitros in a row.
Yeah.
That's and up until a World War III. But anyway, let's just get to the fucking finish of this match.
Yeah.
we're talking about Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. They do a bunch of fucking gangly spots. They make it look good. Like, both guys are great superstars. I'm excited to watch Undertaker versus Mankind for years to come, and that's kind of what we saw tonight. But in a different setting. Like, it was Brian Pillman versus Skinner.
Or you're saying not Undertaker, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Mankind.
Oh yeah, Cactus Jack. Oh yeah. Oh,
because we were saying that it was like if you split McFoley in half, you get Ambrose and Wyatt.
Yeah, it's like those two guys were wrestling before they exploded, and then 25 years in the future, they just become two wrestlers.
And I loved Ambrose as he's trying out new faces. Like, he had some goofball fucking faces today. Yeah, his face was like weird, melty rubber, just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, he was doing all sorts of goofy, like... It was great because the camera kept catching him almost in like they were trolling the way that he was doing his hilarious face spots.
Maybe he was trying to get us ready for the cartoon ending. It's like, hey, we're in cartoon land. Right?
And that's when we realized that this fucking whole shit is a cartoon, especially going back to the stairs match where it's like, oh, this piece weighs 80 pounds, but I can just whip it and then I slam this guy and he's dead. Yeah, professional wrestling not only is amazing, but is also... a cartoon.
Yeah, it's the truth and the fake at the same time.
I also thought it was comic books.
And
bringing it around though,
too.
And definitely soap operas. Bringing it around though to the cartoon aspect. Dean Ambrose decides to take a monitor from underneath the ring.
Yeah, so that's something I've never seen this before, right? This is a new thing under the ring, and it was like a computer monitor attached by cables under the ring. The only thing I could guess is when they have those weird spots like last week when Chris Kanyon was under the ring for the whole match. Is that why that monitor's down there? So guys that have to hang out in the ring for 2 hours can watch shit?
Last week on Raw when Chris Kanyon was watching a monitor under the ring.
We all remember that, right?
No, the weird thing was they botched a spot where I think Dean Ambrose was supposed to look at himself in the monitor because it was clearly hooked up to the Titantron. And that's what I noticed. I noticed that they sort of did this thing, and then he was like, fuck this, and he throws it down into the corner, and then we fast forward and rewound all over this match, but we're getting to the finish right now, and midpoint in the match, this is when the Dean Ambrose spot that I'm talking about is. Fast forward to the end, Dean Ambrose finally has enough. He says, I've had enough with this match. I'm finally going to use that gimmick that I pulled out from under the ring earlier, and darn it, wouldn't you know it, he picks it up, tries to slam it across the ring onto Bray Wyatt's face, but the wire just isn't long enough.
Yeah, but yeah, like this is another one of those things where, I mean, obviously it was supposed to spark up the first time, but instead it doesn't. So he just gets caught on the thing, and he's like, all right, I've just realized everything I'm doing is dumb. Let's do it again.
But what I realized in all that is you don't just have him like pull the monitor off the wire and use it anyway. You have this ridiculous spot where clearly Dean Ambrose had to learn a little bit of pyrotechnics before the show, because he kind of fiddles with the back of it, and then when he pulls on it, like, remember those
Christmas crackers?
Christmas crackers, or like the guns though. I was thinking of pop guns. Like, you know, when those misfire, like that could have happened. That could have absolutely happened. But no, he tries to hit Bray Wyatt with the television.
Yeah, that's what's going to be extra weird to those kids in the future. They're like, oh, table, ladders, chairs, and stairs, that's funny. But then people will go like, yeah, but it's not, the stairs aren't even the dumbest thing. That was the one where the main event was lost because of a computer monitor that was hooked up under the ring.
Yep.
Like, the more I talk about it, that's really, really dumb. It's really dumb.
So then what they're naturally going to do is they're going to go back to bragging rights 2010.
You know what I just realized too with the screen? It's like a modern day flat screen. It would have been like way more violent and cool if it was an old school CRT monitor. But I mean, that would be super insane if that was under the ring. How
come the television that ended the match was better than the monitors they use on the announce table?
Yeah.
Where did that fucking television come from is actually my question.
Hornswoggle watches it.
Why,
he hangs out down there.
The anonymous GM strikes again. Why was it hooked up to the fucking Titantron? Here's what I can gather. Maybe that's the monitor they used to test the Titantron. Maybe in real life and kayfabe, that's what we're supposed to believe. But maybe we should go back and listen to the commentary.
Yeah, that is a weird. Now that you mention it, like, what if there is a legitimate reason for that? What if that literally is like a monitor they have, so that's why they decided, oh, let's use that monitor that's always there that no one in the history of wrestling ever knew was here.
But then the stupidity of that is like, why even do that spot if you think that way in the first place?
Yeah. Well, they thought a stairs match was a good idea. So they were on cruise control for this pay-per-view. No one was thinking too hard about any of this.
And that's fucked because it feels like they put way more effort into shitty pay-per-views we've had to sit here and watch over the last 6 months. Save SummerSlam and Survivor Series.
So I guess, too, kind of a lack of... I mean, I guess it's with a pay-per-view like this, of course, but not a lot of just flat-out clean, this guy won without any weird shit going on. I mean, especially the main event, like the computer monitor. I don't know. I feel like just let Bray Wyatt lose. It doesn't hurt Bray Wyatt that much. Who cares, you know? I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, but Bray Wyatt had lost a whole bunch, and we could schmoz around in circles about all of this, but we should probably just sort of put the nail in the coffin on Tables, Ladders, Chairs, and Stairs 2014.
See you here next year for Tables, Ladders, Chairs, and Stairs 2015.
No, it'll be Tables and Ladders and Chairs and Bears and Gary and Claire and any other wares. At any rate, this has been Schmozcast, aka possibly Smarkamania, episode 3.
Yeah, we still don't have our sweet sign-off phrase. Well, something will happen. We'll figure something out one of these weeks.
This has been Keith and Jason. Go fuck yourself.
That is still the best we got. Let's, all right.
This television has a poison on its breath. This counterculture of both wicked lies and death. It makes my eyes bleed every time I turn around. How will they all feel when I bring them to the ground? And I say, I walk for miles inside this pit of danger, a place where no one follows me. I walk alone. I'm sick of all these people talking out their heads. I've never understood a damn thing that they said. From words to actions, never knowing what they're about. I guess I'll have to chew them up and spit them out. And I said, I walk for miles inside this pit of danger. I swallow down 1,000 years of anger. The weight of the world is falling on my shoulders. A place where no one follows me. I walk alone. Yeah. I walk alone. Oh yeah. I walk for miles inside this pit of danger. I swallow down 1,000 years of anger. The weight of the world is falling on my shoulders. place where no